Well, good morning. I've been kind of radio silent for a while and wasn't really feeling good and had a lot to do. So I just I don't want to make any excuses, I just didn't make any video. I know that there's a couple people that are actually kind of interested in what I'm doing, which is odd to me, but it started out with just putting up a couple videos for my buddy when I was building the neck jig for his Harley jig. And then one of my other buddies, he doesn't really get out or do anything, and I don't want to say he's living vicariously through me, but I guess you could say living vicarious through me. Or vicariously, pardon me. So, anyway, the flywheel for this thing finally came in. The dealership finally got the right one. It's the third one. The first one had the right bolt pattern, but the bolt pattern for the torque converter was wrong, and the entire diameter of it was not large enough. The ring gear was off. The second one that they got in, the flywheel was the right size, ring gear was the right size, the bolt pattern was the right size, but the bolt pattern bolted onto the back of the engine was wrong. And I gave these guys the VIN every single time. And yes, it's a dealer part. It's actually a dealer-only part. You can't get this for Buick Rendezvous through your local parts store. I tried, at least through my local parts stores. And I went, AutoZone, Advanced, Napa, O'Reilly, tried a few other ones, Baxter's, stuff like that, Pep Boys. Nobody has this one for a Buick Rendezvous all-wheel drive with a 3.6? I think it's 3.6. Yeah, 3.6. So, dealer only it was, and even the dealer had problems finding it, because I believe I showed it in the last one. The old one cracked. There. This hub completely came out. The car was still running. It was just making this god-awful knocking noise, just cluck, 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 while it sat there idling. When you stepped on it, it didn't have an issue. Usually when that happens, the car will run for a little while, and then there will be enough between this area, it'll wear out so much that when you hit the starter, this guy will just spin around this hub, and the car won't start. And car won't start, won't connect from the engine to the transmission, obviously, and it's done. Now, something that a lot of people don't understand, and they'll make they've got they don't call this the right thing. Let me put it that way. They call this a flywheel. Well, it is a flywheel, but the way that it's designed, it's so thin, it's designed to flex ever so slightly to take up for the misalignment between the engine and the transmission. As these things heat up, they're going to twist in different directions. Metal does expand and contract, as a lot of people know. If you don't know, take your car out, run it, get it nice and hot, shut it off, stand outside and listen to it, and you'll hear it go tick, 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 tick. That noise that you're hearing is expansion and contraction of the metal. Well, as things expand and contract, they tend to twist and warp ever so slightly. The flex plate is designed to flex to take up that motion, that misalignment that's there, not just from the expansion on it, but poor machining, stuff like that. So all it is I don't want to necessarily say it's like a one of those rubber joints in your steering that are designed to flex. That's for something entirely different. But this is designed to flex ever so slightly. Well, if you ever taken a piece of baling wire or hanger wire and just start bending it back and forth in your hand, it creates a lot of heat, and then eventually it will fatigue and wear out. Well, that's what happens with flex plates. Over time, they will fatigue and wear out, and you'll have to replace them. Usually, you won't see that within the life of the car. Now, if somebody's been in there and you've had a transmission replaced or rear main seal or, something along those lines, somebody's, been in there jacking with it and doing stuff with it, then they should inspect these things. And if there's any cracks or anything like that, go ahead and replace them. Well, what a lot of mechanics will do, I've done it myself, I'm not hating on anybody else, I had a Dodge Caravan I did this with, you'll see one crack. One crack isn't a huge deal. Okay, in all honesty, one crack is not a huge deal because these things are balanced. They're not going to shake themselves to death. One little crack isn't going to be the end of the world with them. And, you know, they may be serviceable and run for years on end, or the flip side of that is that may be that one little place where it just keeps fatiguing like that piece of wire, and it's going to go all the way around and eventually shear off. I've seen it quite a few times on General Motors products. Please don't take that I'm saying stay away from GM. I'm actually a GM fan. I mean, I love Chevys. I came from a Ford family. It's actually kind of funny because my family always had Fords, and I tried Fords, and I just never had any luck with them. They always left me stranded and stuff like that. And my GMs, yeah, they may break down, but it's usually something that I can fix real quick, or, you know, put a Band-Aid on and get going. Whereas with the Fords, it'll be, you know, catastrophic failure. Oil pump went out, and you go to shut down the engine, and you're like, oh, well, I shut it down in time, so I'll just replace the oil pump and I'm good. Well, you'll do that, the engine's already seized. I mean, that's just my experience. Other people, it'll be completely different. In all honesty, I could say I'm not really biased one way or the other with them, but I am a fan of GM. And as far as that bias goes, right now, I have an RV that's got a Chevy chassis under it. It's got a 454 under it, and I've got a 56 Chevy. Otherwise, I own a Dodge diesel, a Toyota, and a Jeep. So it's not really, you know, as far as my four-wheeled vehicles go, it's not really something I could say I'm biased for. Oh, and I have a Ford RV chassis as well, which, yeah, and a couple Harleys and whatnot. But no, so anyway, I'm going to get started on this today. Yes, it's Washington. No, my garage is so packed with crap I couldn't bring it in, and I figured, hey, why not? I'll just do it out here in the driveway. Well, it's Washington. There's weather. There's snow. It's starting to melt, but I still got to work in ice. So, oh well, that's the life of a mechanic. And, you know, I don't like to think of myself as a shade tree, and I guess I kind of am. You know, I don't have another shop. All I have is my garage now. I used to have another shop, and have long since closed that place down. So, but I'm gonna get on this, and I'd like to get it done today. In all honesty, I'm not going to. There's just no way. These things are a pain in the butt. They're all-wheel drive, and I think I've shown it before, where this is one of their all-wheel drive transmissions, which is kind of odd. Oh yeah, there's the old flex plate. Ugh. But that is the transfer case, right? Oop, that's the transfer case right there. So it comes off of the passenger side CV output, and that drives the rear end. Well, because of that, K-member has a bar that runs right over the top of this. These things are packaged in there so tight, they are a pain in the butt to work on. You know, I love telling people, oh, you can do it yourself, but there's some things that you would rather pay somebody else to do. Which is why with this, I knew this was going to be a pain in the ass, and I'm doing this to help a lady out, and I mean, it's just, it's not worth what I'm getting out of it. But, you know, I can say it's my good deed, so anyway, Happy New Year, and away we go.